Hi everyone, this is GKCS. This is my first video on entrepreneurship and I hope that this is useful to you. I am a software engineer who recently started my own company called InterviewReady. It's been a year, so there are some lessons that I would like to share with you in case you're thinking about moving from, let's say, a tech role to entrepreneurship. My talk today is basically on how do you make that decision? How do you reach that decision that, hey, this seems like a good thing to do? And even if you're feeling like it's a good thing to do, how do you make sure? I have 3 tips to share with you. Think about whether this dream that you have is sustainable. Think about whether it's safe to pursue the dream. And finally, think about if you have enough data. When it comes to sustainability, there's 2 things which are quite important. The first one is this a long-term plan? I mean, is it going to work long-term? And the second one, of course, is it profitable? Is the business sustainable by itself? Let's look at long-term planning first. Let's say you have a full-time job and you decide to take mock interviews on the side. So you're charging people for mock interviews and you're getting a lot of money through this side business, up to the point that this side business starts paying you more than your full-time job. So if I'm earning, let's say, 50,000 rupees a month on the side and I'm earning, let's say, 40,000 in my full-time job, then it makes much more sense to actually invest here. The problem here is that you're being constrained also by the amount of time you can spend, the amount of effort you can make, and the amount of preparation you have to do before every interview. Right now, because it's 3 hours, you're probably able to manage work and your side business. Later on, when you have to scale, the long-term plan starts becoming really, really hard because the amount of effort you're putting in per day is probably going to burn you out. And even if it isn't, then how much are you going to scale this business? From 50,000, you'll reach 1.5 lakhs, 2 lakhs, 7 lakhs, but not more. There's an upper cap that you have set for yourself when you're thinking about a side business which is dependent on your time and your effort. So when you're thinking about long-term, think about scale, and basically you're thinking about a product instead of a personal service. That's the general idea. The second thing is profitability. And I think this is the most important thing about any business. I've been to hundreds of hackathons and startup contests, and I see a recurring theme. People feel shy when talking about profitability, when talking about wealth or money. And you can't afford to do this if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Why do you want to be profitable is a good question. Well, if 2 parties willingly transact, right? If party A says, yes, I need your product, here's some money. So party B is happy because they're getting money. Party A is happy because the service or the product that they're getting is worth more to them than the money. Both parties are benefiting. Apart from the taxes that the government is getting and the whole world is getting benefited, that's a separate thing. These 2 parties are happy. So what you're doing through this transaction is a good thing. The second thing, of course, is that you as a business are going to be responsible not just for yourself, but for all the people working in this business. They deserve their salaries. They deserve the salaries being drawn from a profit. And I can go on various reasons why profitability will make sense, but it's a mixture of common sense and a mixture of basic economics. If you're going to run a business, you need it to be profitable. Let's move to the second part, which is safety. Safety has the most obvious component, which is savings. Over here, how much should you save is an interesting question. Well, I would suggest save enough for you to survive for the next 3 or 6 months, and also save enough to invest in your business. For example, if you want to invest in this camera, you need money. If you want to invest in that computer, which is going to edit this video after I've shot it, you need some money. So that kind of savings is an investment in hardware. You could, of course, go to an investor and ask them for an investment, but in my personal opinion, going to investors for a hardware investment which is not about scale is not worth it. If you can save by yourself, it's really, really good because you're going to be saving long term when you're going to scale by investing in short term through your savings. The second thing is in skills. So if you're a full-time engineer earlier, then what's the worst that could happen? Yeah, you're going to get employed again. Yeah. Yeah, To be honest with you, if you invest in your skills for the first 5 or 6 years, what's going to end up happening is that you will be confident that you can always again head back to the job market in case things go wrong. So you have already invested in your skills through time and you have made some savings through a full-time job. Finally, safety also comes through a proven concept. This, like profitability, is the most critical part of safety. A proven concept is something which means that, let's say you want to sell clothes and people say, hey, there's no way you can sell this type of clothes. This market never accepts these kind of clothes. And then you go in the market and you actually start making sales and actual profits. That would be a proven concept. It doesn't mean that you need a full-fledged business for it. You just need to make some sales to prove the concept. The best way that I have found to do this is to actually get something like affiliates. If you're a YouTuber or a blogger or any kind of social media person, then getting affiliates helps you build the confidence to make sales and also build the confidence to know that, hey, I can make sales, so I can probably start my own product. I can probably start my own chain. That's useful. The second thing is sponsors. Sponsors help find that you have a large audience which is interested in what you have to say. Companies are coming to you because you have reach. So I would say go for sponsors maybe second, but definitely go for affiliates that you agree with first. If you're a channel on fashion, going to clothing brands is a good idea. And for every sale that they make, can you get some affiliate commission out of it, out of the profitability? It's a good idea. Finally, this is something that I have never done, but I've heard is really useful. You can also take contracts, or there's people who do freelancing. You can easily switch to your own company quickly from freelancing. This is the easiest switch that I can see. Affiliates, of course, is a proven concept for sales, and sponsors is a proven concept more for reach than anything else. Okay, safety is taken care of. Finally, we have data. Data for me was YouTube analytics, but in general, create a website if you're thinking about starting your own company and have a look at what people do in this website. When do they drop off? This is quantitative data. This is objective data. You also want subjective data. You want to know about things that they never do on this website because it doesn't exist. Okay, so you might start taking interviews. If you take interviews, personal interviews with people, and you ask them relevant questions, you might be able to get a lot of information from them, which you may never be able to get through quantitative analysis. So interviews gives you subjective data. Honestly speaking, keep a more open ear to critical data, critical feedback, because you need to make sure that they're not going to be things which make your business not sustainable or question the feasibility of your business. Okay. So this is something which really helped me when I was making that switch from a full-time job to InterviewReady. If you have experiences related to entrepreneurship or how you made that switch from a full-time role to entrepreneurship, I would love to hear it. Until next time then, see you. What is system design? System what? Can we get to the next question? Can I get a hint? System design is the design of websites using systems. System design. System design is the process of defining components and interfaces with their interactions based on specified requirements. Next question. Are you preparing for your system design interviews? Head over to interviewready.io to get interview ready.